Good morning, everyone. Ooh, started this stream without it crashing. Nice. I also chose to wear a shirt today that doesn't match the color of the wall. So no more floating head. Thank you. See if we can get Nano and Joe in here. It's weird. What did AMD spiked? Let me check it out. When more people start trickling in, I'll switch over to the charts. Good morning, Junior. Yeah, AMD did just spike. It really... That's weird. It gapped down and pretty much just closed its gap. What is SPY doing? Is it doing the same thing? It's starting to close its gap. We'll see. Might bring tech down. All right, let's start building a watch list. Had a rough morning? TGTX did or you did? Or both? Ah, down 37%, nice. But this was up, what, multiple hundreds? No, this one wasn't. When did we see TGTX last? The ticker sounds very familiar. December 2020. December of last year, on the 10th, it went up 60 or so percent. And then that month, it ran nearly 100%. And then this past August, I do remember that, it dropped. And then we filled the gap and then dropped again to the same level. Interesting. Very interesting. 2106 is support. So let's call that 21 whole number, and we are down to 14. So we're below that. TGTX definitely worth watching. Phew, it's a big move. TGTX, okay. Let's see what the screeners are showing. What's the news on TGTX? Not many gap ups, makes sense because the market's coming down. And very low volume. mRNA down 3%, but good volume. And then I just checked it, actually. And it wasn't actually down 3%. It's down... it is now. Okay, it's worth watching. News-based. mRNA. Company said the U.S. Food and Drug FDA notified it that it plans to host a meeting. So they just said that there's going to be a meeting. That's it. The stock drops, what was it, 67%? No, what was it? 40%. Stock drops 40% because they announced a meeting. Yeah. To review cancer therapy application. It is pending, and they need to review it. The final decision regarding the approval is made solely by the FDA. But there's no decision yet, so it's just moving ahead of a decision. Which is probably, if I knew more about the industry and the company, a decent buying opportunity, but I have no idea. Only can do 200 characters. Company said FDA's concern giving rise to the... okay. Gotcha. But it's not a final decision still. What else do we have? PPSI. There's a few penny stocks moving, but I'm going to ignore them personally. If you guys have one that you want me to look at, let me know. PPSI was a penny stock, but it's up over 10 now. Moving on, news. No, is it? It's just on a list of stocks that are moving, but I don't see the specific news. Okay. What else? IMGN. This one's been moving a lot recently. This is sub 10, but over 5. There you go. You're asking me to look at IMGN anyways, so I will. IMGN up 51%. Alright, what that one? PPSI, IMGN. Cool. And then there's some penny stocks: FWBI, NLSP, ERYP, GFAI, all up over 20%, over 2 million shares traded. AHPI is $7 stock. Sitting out in the sun when it's cold is the best. No, sitting out in the sun when it's warm is the best. It's my personal opinion. Or if you mean sitting outside when the sun is cold, based on the grammar of that sentence, then we would all be dead. Do you ever trade VX? No. Trading the volatility index, the inverse of, and the multiples and derivatives of, I have done it in the past. Rule number 1 for trading it: do not hold it overnight, no matter what. It's kind of like trading futures, similar experience, and it's also kind of like trading options that you are fighting against time decay and all that. So it's not recommended at all. 25 out and sunny. Celsius? Yeah, I agree. That does sound awesome. I hope that's what you mean. 25 Fahrenheit and sunny. No, I don't like that, because when it's 25 Fahrenheit and sunny, everything is brown and dead. And then it's sunny, but you're still cold. I'd rather it be 0 degrees Fahrenheit with a foot of snow on the ground and cold and sunny than 25 and sunny. When it's snowy, I prefer it to be cloudy too, not even sunny. 25 is not cold. Yeah, I've lost my Midwest. You'd rather it be 10 to 25 than 26 to 60. Yeah, I agree with that. 26 to 60 is a very awkward space. I get what you're saying, Junior. Yeah, I could see that. What temperature did you say? 25? No, you just said cold and sunny. So I guess it depends what you define as cold. I spent the past year in 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so 25 sounds miserable. But growing up, that was fine. That is a good question, Mike. Would you rather be too cold or too hot? I prefer being too hot, personally. Like I would take living in Arizona in the desert at 120 degrees over living in Canada at negative 20, personally. Which is why I ended up leaving the Midwest and hating the weather there. Because I was living in Chicago and did not want to go through a winter in Chicago with all the snow and wind during COVID. When the humidity is gone, it's nice. I don't like humid heat. The saying, it's a dry heat, has some truth to it. Alright, what else is moving? GTX, OLMA. That's horrible. Yeah, you'd rather be cold. Yeah, I figured. The first day that it was that hot in Arizona, when it was 120, it was before we even decided to actually move there. I was trying to move to San Diego, where it's 70 and sunny, 65 to 70 and sunny year round. And we ended up arriving and putting all of our stuff out of the car and into, so that we didn't have to drive back and forth from Arizona to San Diego with it all. Stored it all in Arizona, and it was 120 degrees, and it was a shock for sure. Those chilly, windy days, no, that's the worst. When it's cold and windy is the worst, and it like does that thing where it takes your breath away. You get that really cold breeze straight into your lungs. Your like body freezes up. No, I'm not about that. And now with the African sun, it hits like 10 times harder. There's just a perfect circle in the ozone layer right around us. All right, OLMA does not look interesting. It fits criteria, but it doesn't look interesting. It looks choppy, looks messy. Previous days, it doesn't look like it makes good moves. And it just spiked up before close yesterday and then fell back down. It's like negative 40 when it takes your breath away. Your chair's coming today? Nice. I do not. I kind of do, but not so much. Miss my old office chair. You guys remember that white one? It was good for what it was and for the price, but it was obnoxiously squeaky. Natural gas is down 12% today. What was it just looking at? ARRY. This one has been fun to trade in the past. Down 10%, $20 stock. Volume looks a little bit choppy pre-market. It does make some decent moves though. Not so much on downward. Oh, yeah, it does. What is the volume? I don't know why it meets its... Oh, I know how this got through my filter. After hours, not pre-market. The volume is not good in ARRY. So not adding that one. Anything else? That's it. IMGN, we already looked at that. CPIX. Okay, this might be one penny stock that we add because it's up. It's up 86% and down like 50% from its high in pre-market. No, it's down 20% from its high in pre-market. Very good news. If there's going to be a pump and dump in a penny stock today, it will be this one, and that's always fun to watch. Watch smart people make a bunch of money and bad traders lose a ton of money. Nvidia is down nearly 3 points. That's almost 1%. All right. Tech is just down overall. Small watch list. We have... There's no way I only have that. I haven't been adding them. Hold on. What am I missing? PPSI, mRNA, IMGN, CPIX, TGTX. That's it? Only 5? Ay, ay, ay. All right, is there anything else on here? No. Even the stock Twitch traders don't have anything. All right, 5 stocks. Let's share that. Let's change the URL. /C/Enlight Trading. Finally got the YouTube URL. So that's nice. Hey Chris, welcome. Oh, look, everybody already knows your name. Just coming to say hello? Well, hello. Are you trading this morning? Or afternoon? Tesla's coming up. Hold on, let me post this watch list to Instagram first. Tesla. Here, let me switch over to the charts. See what Tesla's doing. Just close its gap. It's at 0.3%. And in a wedge on the daily. Not doing too much. Why are my notes not updating? There we go. I forgot I don't do that format anymore anyways. Okay, Instagram. Make that orange because it's the greatest color. And then link, and then we do, whoops. We do the YouTube link, yes. And I learned yesterday not to do the literal YouTube link because people won't be able to, if the stream goes down, they won't be able to access it. So let's just do the channel. Trade live with me here. I'm glad Instagram made it available for anybody to post links on their stories, because that was obnoxious to run a small business account and not be able to share links, since nobody clicks on the link in bio anymore. All right, what are y'all saying? How far away are you from the Lions? Well, it's an interesting question. I'm not within walking distance of any Lions currently. The 1150 level, that's what you're looking at in Tesla. Chris, what are you watching to trade this morning? 1150. I kind of see what you're talking about, Mike. Like this wick on the hourly comes down and tests it a little bit, but there's really no test of it. It's a psychological level. Unless you have that, let's see, 5 minute from yesterday. There's a lot at 1141. Unless you have 1150 drawn on your chart from some point, I don't really see it as a level. Caged or uncaged? Well, even here, when they're... It's not like there's just a zoo with them in a cage, but I have seen that here. That was depressing. But most of them aren't like that. They're in little reserves where they are technically fenced in. You've been wearing too much orange the last few weeks. Yeah, that's a different kind of orange. That's a not as physically attractive orange. Inlight orange is much better. I believe everybody received their Indiegogo, the Inlight orange shirts by now. You might be, oh, okay. So Chris, you're pretty much just watching your family of stocks. It seems like. And it's a lot of tech just moving with the S&P 500 today, or vice versa. A lot of gap fills in tech. Daily, it's the body on Tesla. I saw it at the bottom of the wick. Daily body at 1150. Body at 1150. You're talking about this green body right here from the 8th? And no, that's not 1150. The low of this red doji is at 1150 from the 22nd. The body of yesterday closed at 1137. Yeah, it's more of his, absolutely. That's what I agree with. Exactly. Tesla doesn't do the, well, it does psychological levels like high of day, low of day pretty well, but it doesn't do horizontal levels very well. I mean, it's a $1,200 stock. Okay, let's run through the watch list again and see if there's anything setting up. PVSI over 13. mRNA under 345. That one will need to see a setup, an OVD or something. Looks like Joe couldn't make it today. TGTX is probably one of the top candidates for a trade, and it might even be a reversal. I think it's just gotten overextended. I don't see it coming down too much. It might test 10 whole number. It's a huge psychological level, but other than that, maybe you get a reversal off of 10. An opening breakdown down to 10, and then a reversal back up to 15 or 20. That would be ideal. Fix the white balance real quick. I don't think that did much. What's happening to what happened to them? Good question. Skyla's been busy running a business with some of her trading profits, so she's doing pretty well. And then Nick is still doing his thing. He's doing some personal work and trying to get to a good space where he can trade consistently again. Having some issues with job stuff and whatnot. But Nick is still engaging. Skyla I haven't heard from in a while. Nick is waiting for the next UDTS, the next Ultimate Day Trading Showdown, which I don't know when it will be. Beginning of the year, probably after. We'll probably do another UDTS season when the Inlight app is at least partially released, so that people can sign up and it can be used as the showdown can be used as a bit of promotion for the app. And the traders in the showdown can track their trades in the app, and the app can kind of sponsor the showdown. Like highlight, oh, so-and-so is doing the showdown. Here's their trades. Follow along, that kind of thing. But you should ask that in the Discord. I'm sure they'll respond. You think I need a trading challenge? I have one planned that I want to do, because a lot of people have been asking me to do another small account challenge since it's been exactly 1 year since the last one, where we traded, what was it, 500 up to 1500 in 3 weeks. So I was thinking of doing another one, but I didn't want to do the exact same thing over again. And I'd be curious if you guys like this idea, doing a 365 challenge, trading $365 for 365 days and seeing where it goes. Not to try and get some clickbait title like $300 to 3 million in 1 year kind of thing. Not to grow the account as big as possible, but to grow it as consistently as possible and show how even with $365 you can pull a bit of an income out of your trading account. And it's not all about keeping all of your profits in, because mentally that imbalances your thermometer. If you let's say you make 100% on a trade and you're all of a sudden up near $700, you would want to pull out a little bit of that money because you're not as emotionally attached to it. So you would rather receive that as a bit of an income and keep the money as cash instead of losing it in some dumb trade. So I have that challenge coming up. Maybe I'll start that on January 1st and do January 1st to December 31st. And I need to study TikTok more, because a challenge like that would probably do pretty well on that platform. But other than that, let me know if there's a challenge. Like, we used to do those weekly challenges, so we can do one of those again. Like the stock wheel challenge, the what else did we do? Markets live. Watching CPIX is the one that's up 90%. We'll see if this breaks resistance levels. It has a lot of room to go until we get up to pre-market high. So we really need a setup in this one. You're not going to take it on a breakout of pre-market high. PBSI pulling back. IMGN pulling back. Only gap ups that made it are up 40% at least. Jeez. mRNAs are only reasonable stock, and it is pulling back. Maybe an OBD under 348 in mRNA. We'll see what the opening candle does. TGTX is pulling back. Maybe an OBD in this one. 1288 down to 1180 pre-market low. Probably would just do 12 whole number. It is a whole number and the bodies of these candles. Was hoping for a green candle here, but this does still count as a pullback if it does break under this low. But I would hope for a green candle or at least a doji candle or something. Nope, it broke. Either way, your trade would look like this. The pullback high would be up here, that previous candle. And then your target would be 12 whole number. Good reward to risk. This is one of those situations in the OBD setup that is personal preference, and it depends on your risk tolerance and all of that. If you like faster paced trades, or if your thermometer's cold and you need to take a trade to warm up your thermometer, but you take this with, say, half of your regular share size, I would give this like a B, because it did technically pull back off of this 1288 level. There was a, what was that? There's a one order that just wicked up through there. It probably wouldn't have even gotten filled on a stop, but that's what the trade would look like. Coin breaking out of wedge, 4 hour. Let me check out coin. Saw Robinhood was also making an interesting move. Yeah, this is up 2%. Okay. So maybe this breaks over high of day 327.60. Yeah, Junior, you should send that message asking what happened to those two. You should send that in the Discord and see if they respond to you. Hood is making the same move as coin. CPIX is breaking upward. A little bit of a pullback and then a break right up into this resistance, which was not 1-to-1. And you could see it did actually reject this level a little bit. Maybe look for a breakout of 5 whole number in this one, but then you have, what is pre-market high? 558. Okay, so maybe a breakout of 5. Yeah. Maybe a target of 5 and a break of 450. It's another possibility. IMGN is pulling back still. PPSI is trying to break out, but it's not doing a good job at it. Coin's pulling back quite a bit. mRNA is also pulling back, did not break down. And then TGTX would have stopped out. But again, that was an ugly setup in my opinion. But I wanted to show you it because some people might like that setup anyways, despite it being an uglier setup. That's not my personal way of trading the OBD. I would, like I said, wait for a green candle of some sort, but some people do trade off of a wick as a pullback. Like I said, if you're doing that to, let's say it's a B minus trade and your thermometer is really cold, and so you throw in that, but you take only half of the normal shares that you would trade, it's not a terrible idea. SPY is curling back down. It had the gap down and then big green candle on the third candle, but is coming back down now. Tilray has had some news this past week that I thought would be interesting. It is up 2%. This is the one that I traded those puts in because it was coming down and testing a trend line from above, but I'm overall bullish on this, like long-term bullish on this in terms of being bullish on the overall cannabis industry in the States, as well as the daily chart with the way the trend lines are. I could just draw it for you. I think it's this one. I have it drawn on my Thinkorswim. I think it's this. And I believe I have it drawn in on the 4 hour more so. But you have it bouncing on this from above now, which we got almost a trend channel breakout. This is when I first traded this. I got calls on this move. Traded that. That was a nice trade. That was 2 weeks ago. And then it pulled back. So I waited, and now that it's bouncing, this is when I did the spread. On Friday, bought a call and a put, and then the put ended up making profit as it came down and tested the trend line, and then the call might do better. We'll see. TTD rejected resistance intraday or on a larger time frame. I know you like to trade larger time frames more. 14 whole number and 114 and 110. Looks like this is rejecting 110. What is coin doing? It's double topped at 327.60. CPIX is still hovering up here. SPY just broke a low. PSI not doing anything. Very choppy. IMGN breaking down still. I would be curious if this one may be an inverted head and shoulders. mRNA breaking down finally. There's a trade in this one. And it is a opening reversal. I showed one of these yesterday. It's like getting into an OBD, but getting in a little bit early when there's a doji like this, to try and get a little bit of extra profit on your OBD, or you set the low of day, which would normally be your OBD entry, as your target. And so that would be the initial trade for the opening reversal. And then your next target was, what was the target originally in mRNA? Low of pre-market, right here. So there's your mRNA trade. I love how I have exclamation point course, exclamation point Discord scrolling across on the screen, even though we're not on Twitch, and that doesn't work. So when somebody random comes in and types in one of those two commands, because they see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen, I'm going to need one of you guys to paste the link. I'll just have all the current viewers spam the link when somebody uses one of those commands. That should work pretty well. Tilray big red candle. Interesting. A lot of things with the big red candle on that breakdown. Oof. Look at Moderna just moving down to 340. As another target. This is a good trade. I could see Mike taking this trade. All right. Streaming on YouTube. It's interesting. Still nobody like random joining in. Let's see if that Instagram story even posted. I always close the app too fast before it's actually done posting. Did you guys see my Instagram post this morning? If you did, you didn't like it. I know that for a fact because it has 0 likes except for me. Instagram's just become an awful app in terms of engagement. Like, we used to get like 50 likes per post, and then from then I've doubled in followers and now get 0 likes per post. Stories do okay. Download Instagram like twice a week. You download it. Why do you have to download it? Just keep it downloaded. Although I understand because I had it deleted from my phone for the past 3 months. But if you're downloading it twice a week, just keep it downloaded. You can remove it from your homepage on your phone. Average watch time from you all is 6 minutes and 44 seconds currently. That's an interesting metric to be able to see live. Ooh, are we getting likes on this? How do I view in control room analytics? How do I go to, can I actually watch this stream? I don't know if I can actually watch my stream. mRNA is still coming down. Okay, here I can see it. But what was I trying to see? I was trying to see how many likes the video has, but I don't know. Oh, I know what I could do. Go to YouTube instead of YouTube Studio. Never mind on mRNA. It's coming back down, or coming back up. 0 likes. You guys forgot to like. You guys need to like this stream. Don't forget to leave a like. Oh, shush. I can hear myself. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream. Every day you got to do that. I mean, it's going to be annoying, but apparently that matters. Because yesterday, once we started getting likes, people started joining. CPIX finally broke out of that 450 level, but the stop would have been like 20 cents, 22 cents. It would have been 23 cents. Target 5. I'm going to plot this just to see. I want this to be at 450. I'm going to plot this just to see. I'm not plotting this to say this was an actual trade or a good trade or anything like that. I'm plotting it just to see, because I haven't traded pump and dump penny stocks in a long time. I'm just curious how they're performing. SPY is coming back up. IMGN 5 minute looks like a good reversal with this hammer candle. and it's a little bit of a trend channel. Okay, we might get a trend channel breakout in IMGN here. It's a very steep trend channel though. I don't love it when they get this steep, but I will plot it anyways. Here's the upper level. I'll do both just to help you all. See, it's a very narrow and steep trend channel, but it exists. 1, 2, 3, 4 tests, 5. We just need a pullback now and then a break over this high. Nope. I was about to draw the line there, but it broke upward. Let's give that a second. CPIX is doing its thing. mRNA is coming back up. Mike, if you're still watching, mRNA kind of has a similar look to when you look in a stock that's overextended and you take it short, where you would take this long. If it comes up to here, pulls back around 345, and then continues breaking upward, I could see you taking that as the same setup, but in reverse with a long bias. Is anybody else in here hanging out? Chat's quiet today. Who am I kidding? Chat's quiet every day. All right, let me add another one of these. Save. All right. Everyone zoned in. That's a good thing. PPSI is halted. Big red candle down. IMGN, how's that trend? Okay, so the pullback happened. So we could start marking up a possible trade. The pullback hasn't finished. This is one of the issues with such a steep trend channel, is it's not going to pull back and test the top of the trend channel. That'd be a massive pullback. I mean, it still could, but that would be almost too big of a pullback. And then target would be around here to start, which is 1-to-1 currently, but the stop isn't set yet. It hasn't finished the pullback. I'm just putting the lines on the chart first. CPIX, look at all these wicks. Doji, 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 doji. It does not know what it wants to do. Coin is breaking upward. I can see some of you trading this breakout. You have the wedge breaking with a bit of a pullback here. And then you also have the break of high of day, that double top. You can trade that as well. I wonder if this is 1R. Well, there's the stop out. But I wonder, no, that's not 1R. Okay, so that's the issue with that setup. So you would instead wait for the break of the double top at high of day, in which case it's falling down now, so no trade yet. Cool. All right. It's already been 50 minutes. Wow. See IMGN as a pumped, tried to retest, failed, and just stepping down rest of the morning. I could see that. I mean, I see why. That's why I filter for 20%, from 4 to 20% for my gaps, for the opening strategies personally, because anything over 20%, let's say it's a gap up over 20%, honestly, has more room to fall back down than it does to continue running beyond that. So I do agree. it's an interesting trade, because normally when you would take something like this, it would be after a spike during the day and then it's falling back down, whereas this did its testing and everything in pre-market on light volume, not very light volume, but you know what I mean, in general on light volume. I could see this spiking up and gaining some strength. However, if on the 5-minute chart and the 2-minute, if this were to break down now, to me, I like this. I like this much better than the 1 minute chasing out of the opening candles. This down to 6-hole number, I like this a bit more, I should say. This is still up 30% and technically bullish, but if you have a bearish sentiment, this trade setup right here on the 2-minute chart, I think that makes more sense. You always went 30% on small caps in pre-market. Yeah, so that's your personal. That's why I love to teach setups instead of strategies. My strategy involves 20%. Yours involves 30%, even though they might be on the same setups. Over 30 seems to continue under that trend. Yep. Completely valid. And this was over 30%. So you're seeing it pull back, which is totally fair. And I agree with that sentiment. I like it better on the 2-minute now that it had its pullback, because imagine that trend channel that was coming down that broke out. Imagine that did go back up and stopped you out. It's difficult to take a 1-minute trade on the opening, the first 10 candles. I don't know what candle you actually got in, but I think it was within the first 10 candles. It was very choppy at that point. Mike, was your target 6 as well? I think it was. Yeah. Let's see if it comes down and hits your target. Field average 643. Yeah, so you got on under here. Okay. 643 down to 6. Nice. Full size. You do what? You'd normally trade 100 shares on something like this? Let's see if it hits this target. If not, you're already beyond 1-to-1, so you're well beyond 1-to-1. So you can take profits if needed, but also need to balance out being patient. PVSI is back. It's going sideways. Coin is still this bullish pennant. mRNA is breaking back down again. So you can take another breakdown in that possibly. Just cleaning up the chart a little bit. mRNA is definitely the cleanest trade of the day. So I'm going to put that on the trade of the day chart. And then TGTX, what is this one doing? Looks like it might break upward. It's forming a bit of a wedge, and the wedge can break up or down. So just 100 shares? Yeah, that's what I guessed, is 100 shares. Already moved stop to break even, nice. Noting 610. $602, so close. Now, I would put my order at 601 just to make sure to get filled on the test of the whole number. But 602 would not have been filled. 610. Okay. In the body of that candle. On the 2-minute at least. On the 1-minute, what is this doing? It's still okay to use the 1-minute. We're only 1 hour in. Yeah, 610 is still a solid level. Deceleration to this hammer candle, and then it broke down. It's not a typical trade I'd make, but small cap with shorts available. It's true. It is nice having shorts available. Are there options for IMGN? Yes, there are. So you could trade options on that as well. Options are actually pretty pricey for this price of stock. AMD, what's AMD doing? This one closed its gap. Okay, so curl back up, although it's pretty much following the exact chart of the S&P 500, except it didn't have as big of a gap down. But same intraday chart. If you look at SPY, you can see the same W shape extended on the right leg. Yeah. See if that TGTX wedge has formed tighter. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a channel. A sideways channel, not ideal. On the 1 minute. 2 minute might be a little bit more of a wedge. Yeah. What is coin doing? It's up. Okay, it did finally break out. Did it give a setup at least on the 1 minute? It did not. Just broke. So maybe we get a retest of this resistance at 327.60-ish, 328-ish as support, and then breaking upward again. AMD pulling back. Yeah, AMD's just following SPY pretty much. CPIX is doing something. Not really. This trade that I drew out, remember, was not an actual trade that I was marking as a good trade. I'm just curious on the current state of pump and dumps that are up 100%. And this one is pretty much sideways. So this is what the trade would have been. We'll still see. It's what, 10 o'clock there? So another hour until the lunch session. If this just goes sideways into the lunch session, then the trade would close around break even. mRNA is coming back down. TGTX broke upward. Interesting. So if you were watching this one for a bit of a wedge break, I mean, depending on exactly how you draw your trend line, if you're using the wicks, then this was a test within. If you use the body, then it was a test just outside of. What does the 2 minute show? Right on it. So possibly a trade here. Up to 1450 first target, 15 second target. But again, it depends exactly. TGTX over 15 could be interesting. Yeah, that could be interesting. There's a 15 is definitely a level from pre-market. We'll see what it does around there. But there is this trade where, like in this instance, if you're thinking, okay, taking this over 15, but it gave this setup. You take this setup with only 100 shares. You make a little bit of profit. And then when you take the breakout over 15, you feel more confident. If that one ends up losing, then you're break even on this stock as a whole instead of at a loss. That's one benefit to taking multiple setups in the same stock, as long as you're not chasing it. If you were to get stopped out on this one and then it were to break out again, and then you get stopped out again, and then you go again, that's chasing the stock. You're trying to make profits on the stock that took money away from you, even though it's clearly not working. What else is moving? Till we break even on the day. I wonder if Chris ended up making a trade in, what did his Boeing do? Nothing, sideways. Hopefully he didn't get stopped out on anything there. And then I think he was also watching AMD, so he might have, let's see, remembering Chris's trading style, he might have taken a breakout in this one, but probably hesitated after all the wicks and didn't like the stop at the break of high of day. And if he did, he might have taken it on the pullback on the breakout, but had his target at 165 and got stopped out. Those would be my guesses for Chris. But I don't think he's in here anymore to ask. Do you think you'll ever come up with a robotic chiropractic adjustment machine you can buy? I think that already exists. You mean one that automatically adjusts your spine for you? I'm sure that exists. And then there's also the little sensors that you have an app on your phone that tells you that you're out of line and you correct yourself. That exists as well. But I'm pretty sure there are contraptions like exoskeletons that adjust your spine for you. You could also do some magic with tape. You have somebody to do the tape for you. Or get a better chair. I could make the link to my that white chair, because that one was pretty comfortable. I didn't have any back issues, and if I did have any, it was from sleeping poorly, even though I had a really nice mattress. I invested in a really nice mattress in Arizona, and I never ended up sleeping in it. Yes, Mike, but I know Nano's budget. Yeah, I invested a lot into that mattress. It's a really nice memory foam mattress, but I never slept in it because I just could not sleep in it. It was comfortable to lay in like in the afternoon, but as soon as it was bedtime, I just could not sleep on it. AMD's looking to break out again, but it's only up 1%, so not too exciting for a breakout. TGTX did end up coming up to 15. No setup at 15 for that breakout, but it did go up. Yeah, exactly. Junior, that's on the low end. That's on the very low end. It's one of their cheapest models. The model I've seen most people get is like $2,000. But if you're sitting at a chair for, I don't know, let's say 12 hours a day, and your income can afford it, it is worth it. Just like how you spend 8 hours a day, 33% of your day, 33% of your life in bed, some people more than that, it's worth spending a decent chunk of change on a third of your life. It's probably the most important third of your life too, because if you don't get good sleep, then it ruins the other chunks of your life when you're awake and whatnot. Yeah, 1,300 is about average around what I've seen. Like 1,200 to 2,000, I think, is what I usually see people spend on those chairs. I've been stuck on, you can't even see it, on like regular kitchen chairs that you put at a kitchen table for the past like 6 months. 6 months? 4 months. Let's see, November, October, September, August, 4 months. Damn, it's been 4 months. $200 gaming chair has fallen apart within 2 years. Yeah, 2 years for a $300 gaming chair is not bad. That's actually quite expected. Also, gaming chairs are not that great. They're not very ergonomic. Herman Miller chairs are fantastic, I've heard. I've actually not had the pleasure of owning one. When the Inlight app comes out, I'll celebrate by getting a Herman Miller chair. Actually, I need to find a place to live first when I get back to the States. That's the biggest thing. Is when I get back to the States, I have to find a place to live. See if the Inlight house idea ends up working out. That'd be fun. Put a bunch of like Inlight neon signs and banners and stuff all over the wall, so anybody who's in there taking pictures for social media has an Inlight in their background. IMG testing, yeah, it might break down under 6. I would guess that you probably would have held on to this to 6 if you weren't going to fall asleep waiting for it. Getting out as it came back above 610 is not a terrible idea. For your trade plan. For this trade plan, 1R would have been like 60. It's a 16 cent, so 608 would have been 1R. Yeah, this looks like it could break down under 6. Can't have an expensive nap again? No. Can't have an expensive nap again. Plus, it's good when you're warming up your thermometer, especially at the end of a long work week and all you've been through this past week, taking time off of trading to get out in the wilderness. It's good to just take a nice simple trade, take some profits, warm up the thermometer, and then you have the next 3 days to trade. Realistically 2 days, because Fridays usually suck unless it's earnings season, which we have a month and a half for. SPY has nearly closed its gap. I'm going to get rid of this CPIX, this test, because it definitely, I have my result from the test already. Market volatility? What do you mean? When there is market volatility, Fridays work better? Yeah, and market volatility is usually during earnings season. I mean, even this whole COVID nonsense with the new strain driving the market down 2%, and then it has closed its gap every day. It's technically volatility, but not. Yeah, well, that happened this week, and it didn't result in very good trading. Children in the Netherlands are among the world's happiest children. So we should just send all children in the world to the Netherlands. Just get rid of them. %2 is huge. It is, but 2% on that was my point, is 2% during earnings season moving because a bunch of companies are giving very, very, very clear direction that they are going down, and they just happen to be down 2%, enough that the overall market is down 2% at this point, versus a new variant coming out or being discovered, and then the S&P 500 dropping 2% on a holiday week, and then closing the gap, and then dropping down another percent, and then closing the gap. Because at this point, we've been through enough variance, and we know that the market is still very, very bullish since the beginning of COVID. We zoom all the way out, it is up over 100% since the low. If you invested at the low of the COVID drop, of that 34% drop, you would be up over 100% on your investments. So we know that the new variants, using those as headlines, isn't really creating market volatility in the sense of momentum. I think that's the operative term there for you, is momentum, not volatility. Volatility can lead to momentum, but you need volatility and volume. You need that conviction in one direction or the other, not just a quick spike up or down. Like you can surf a wave when it's this consistent wave every few seconds as the swell comes in, and you know that it's happening, you know the direction it's going, you could ride that wave. But if a massive tsunami just comes out of nowhere, you're not going to go run and grab your 70-foot long surfboard and jump on it. I like the market movers taking advantage of a holiday. Yeah, kind of. Not taking advantage of a holiday. I'm assuming you mean market makers. No, that's just mostly US news media not having anything to talk about because Trump isn't president anymore. That's not a direct reason, but there just hasn't been much to report. And now all of a sudden, new variant discovered in South Africa. Oh, us Americans don't really like South Africa. They're this gross third world country. Let's pin the pandemic on South Africa and post it on a bunch of news headlines for a week and see if that drops the market down a little bit. Yeah. I don't surf with the great whites. That would imply the sharks are also on a surfboard. Right, that'd be interesting. Because dolphins do that. They will surf waves. They've been documented just surfing waves on their own. Not even with a human surfing and they're like following the human, but just, drone in the air, filming a pod of dolphins, and they're riding the wave, and they swim back to the start of the break and they ride the wave again. Dolphins are a scary, intelligent animal that we don't understand well enough. No, I do not. Whale should change his name to dolphin. If you had any spirit animal, it would probably be a dolphin. With how they keep half of their brain asleep at all times. What is mRNA doing? Down 6% now. It's coming back up a little. But see, this is so what I said might happen happened. That I thought you might trade something like this is you have a little bit of a wedge here. You have the break up, and then you have the pullback. And then comes up to say high of day as your target. Or even this previous low is still 1R. 348 whole number. Or 350, nice psychological number. Dolphins make you nervous. Those pink river dolphins, those are scary. They have like 3-inch long fangs. Sharp, serrated, shark-like teeth. They attack sharks too. In rivers where bull sharks come in from the ocean and hang out in the river. There's actually, I think there's a situation like this here in South Africa on the east coast where there were a bunch of bull sharks going into the river and dolphins were attacking them. I don't know if I know the bull shark part of that is true, but I don't remember if it was that river situation with bull sharks or a different one where there were dolphins attacking the bull sharks, and it was creating this huge issue because dolphins were getting extremely aggressive and then they started attacking children. Or eating children. I'd rather play with whales. Yeah. Whales are fun to swim with. Although it's scary how big they are. In documentaries and whatnot, I mean, they kind of depict how big a whale is, but once you're in person next to a whale and you realize that, like, it's bigger than a bus, it's just a massive creature. Did you take a trade in mRNA? It's exactly what I was talking about earlier when I was describing. Normally, if you flip this and you're taking this on the short side, you would take that trade. But being that you're normally long biased, I'm curious if you would take it on the long variation of this setup. Canadian dollar dips as virus variant risk offsets GDP gain. Dips compared to what? I bet a lot of currencies are dipping. Actually, I'm curious, what is the current? Ooh. The exchange rate here is just getting better and better. It went up to 16.27 over the weekend. It's dropping back down now, though. Not much else moving. SPY's coming back down. You said yeah, as in you did trade mRNA? Agree. Yeah. Gotcha. It was that mRNA trade to the upside. Okay. Gotcha. But you didn't take the trade. SPY's breaking down. Sitting on hands today? Yeah. Gap fill day, well, attempted gap fill day, and then coming up, yeah. There's no clear direction, so stocks aren't really doing much. Let me see what I can do really quick. to how it played off VWAP? Yeah. I don't have VWAP on this chart, but I believe it. 350 would have been target. I agree. Did it play off of VWAP nicely? I can put it on. Yeah, played off of it very nicely. That would have been a great trade for you. We have a previous high for that. Yep. As well as that it was a descending, not really descending, it was a bearish pennant that broke upward, which is kind of the signature of this move for you. It's a wedge break, but in the opposite direction of what the overall move of the stock is that day, with the pullback and then the continuation. You'd have gotten it at 345.50. What do you mean 340? Yeah, the high of this candle. 345.44. Draw the trade plan, screenshot it, and keep note of that so that you can use it as reference, as a little bit of inspiration, because you've taken this trade numerous times to the short side, but not long, even though you have a generally a long bias for trading, which is interesting. I don't know how much of this I can show you guys, but that's all you get to see. The rest of it's just not built out enough yet. Or is it? Yeah, login, homepage. You also have tracking trades, right? So you get your trades. And this is a fake trade, obviously, but you can pull in everything, and the design isn't perfect yet, but it pulls in all your data automatically, and then you can go through, select your strategy, give it a rating, and then your mentor, once the mentor portal is also there, you can also have your mentor give it a rating, and you'll have both ratings, or it will combine the rating and take the average, for example. Your feeling before, and there will be more options here, obviously, and then you can write a bunch of notes. And this chart works, fully functional. This is just a demonstration chart, but it'll have like dots, a red dot and a green dot for any buy and sell order that it's automatically pulling. And then it creates a trade card, which obviously the design isn't fully done yet. This will look much better, that you could then save that, share it either with a mentor or on social media or whatever. Yeah, it's getting there. Going to bed? All right. You have a good sleep. What else is there? IMGN is inverted head and shoulders, testing VWAP. This is the same thing that Whale just sent me. Breakout of the VWAP here. Inverted head and shoulders. You could take this breakout over 635. Stop under these green candles, 618. Target, a little bit of resistance up here at 665. Is that 1R? Yes, it is. So that's a possible trade. I'm thinking of ending this stream a little bit early so it's not too long of a VOD afterwards because the market is doing absolutely nothing. I want to see what this IMGN breakout does first. If it hits that 660 area. And then we'll wrap up. Trade of the day is definitely that breakdown in mRNA, but it did have a breakout as well. A counter trend break from that wedge. TGTX also pretty decent breakout, another counter trend play on that gap down. How long did it take for you to reach elite trader status? I don't know what that means. What do you mean elite trader status? What does elite trader status mean? Elite trader status. Basically where you execute your game plans week in, week out, to the T, week in, week out. Okay, so consistency. Consistency where you're actually growing an account, you expect to grow your account, and you expect to be able to pull money out of your account. It took me about 3 months from when I started trading to when I started trading consistently. And then it took me probably another 6 months after that to get to a point where I was pulling profits out. So 3 months of like playing around and figuring out, because I'm fully self-taught in trading. So 3 months of that process, and then after those 3 months, I was consistently trading, consistently, making some profits, but I had a system developed that I was able to just execute, as you say. And then about another 6 months after that of growing the account, scaling up my wins to be big enough to consistently grow the account, scaling down my losses to keep emotions steady, learning to balance my thermometer, as I call it now. I didn't have a name for it back then. Yeah, about 6. So that'd be 9 months total, until I was like fully pulling money out of the account, trading like in a flow of it. What I've seen from various students, though, is it varies drastically. So if you're not on that same time frame, faster or slower, it doesn't really mean much. Like, I've seen some of my best students, it took them 2 or 3 years until they got to a point of consistency and executing a system week in and week out. And others, it took only a few months. More often than not, though, those who it only took a few months end up taking a few months, getting to that point, doing that for a little while, and then either getting bored, or they let their thermometer get too cold, or it wasn't ingrained enough in them to stick to their system, and they end up breaking some rules and then losing some money, and then pretty much starting back at break even, and then they start the process over again. I have seen that before. It's been over a year since I've gone live, so I haven't reached that automatic decision making. Okay, that's totally fine. Trying to reach elite trader mode. Where did you get that phrase from, elite trader mode? Because when I think the word elite, it means like top of your class, top of your group in what you do. And I guess if you are an elite trader, you would do what you're saying, and you have that automatic decision making. You have a system that you're just able to stick to, and what I teach in the Zero to One trading course, to trade like a machine. But I wouldn't say that that's elite. Being able to trade like a machine is like the basis of being a trader. That's where you go from just playing around in the stock market to being able to call yourself a trader. Is being able to trade like a machine, which is the way I phrase what you're talking about. Where like emotions aren't affecting you. You have rules. You can adjust those rules. You have machine parts, moving parts that you have to, these gears that are whining against each other that you have to add a little bit of oil to and grease to every once in a while to make sure that they're still working properly. Got it from S&B Capital. Their elite traders are inspiring. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. They're doing a lot of cool things. I was around before them, and so I've been teaching trading since before they were on social media and selling courses and taking people into their prop firm. So I've been able to watch them grow, and it's been awesome. I think they're based in New York City, right? So they've been able to get the funding for all of that and whatnot, which has been great. They seem to have a pretty decent program. I don't know exactly how their education, how good of quality it is. It mostly seems like if you have your own education from outside sources and you're able to perform well, and then you get brought into the prop firm. I mean, all it is a prop firm with a social media account. Manhattan, yeah, that's what I meant. I guess you're right. New York City is much bigger than just Manhattan, but that is what I meant, or at least what I was thinking. It is in the works currently, having an Inlight trading office opened in Manhattan. We have a couple students testing it out, trading together in Manhattan. I know Nick is also in the area. Eventually, we might end up getting a big enough room or a big enough office space to have maybe 10 or so traders trading together. That'd be pretty cool. But it's expensive. It's a very expensive area to do that, so Inlight will have to grow quite a bit before we fully step in that direction. And then we could have Inlight mentors and trade psychologists and whatnot at that location. So while the students and the graduated students are just there trading, doing their thing, there's people there to help if they need somebody to talk to or need to review something. But I don't believe in the whole prop firm mentality. I'd rather those all be individual traders, or Inlight might have a fund at one point where students graduate and they get hired by the fund to give capital to students who don't have the capital, but they've clearly shown that they can trade. I do like that, but that's a little bit different from a prop firm in structure. What about Florida with the whole yeah, I thought about Florida as well. It's no state income tax, so you still have to pay federal income tax, which is much higher. But that's definitely a possibility. There's just not as many people in Florida who are Inlight students currently. Like, the Manhattan thing kind of happened naturally. There are already a couple students there who are able to get together and rent an office space together. But I don't think we have many students in Florida currently. I have had students in Florida before, but none, I don't think I've had more than one at the same time. But I have thought of that, and that would be pretty cool. I definitely like East Coast more than West Coast for trading. West Coast trading, when I've done that, it's just way too early in the morning. It's just too early in the morning. I enjoy my mornings, but I don't enjoy trading that early in the morning, if that makes sense. Like, West Coast time, starting trading at 6:30 a.m. So you're waking up at 4, going to the gym, eating breakfast, making coffee. And then you're trading at 6 a.m. and then you're exhausted by noon. And then for me, teaching and streaming, I'd be teaching and streaming and doing all this at 6 a.m. Yeah, it was too early. I didn't like that. And then now it's a little bit too late. Because what I didn't realize, because I was not thinking about this, I thought the market would open at 3:30 p.m. That would be like pretty much the perfect time for an afternoon work session. Start streaming at 3, go from 3 to 5, and then go work out and make dinner and all that. But then there's daylight savings, and South Africa doesn't have daylight savings. So now I'm 7 hours ahead of Eastern time. So the market opens at 4:30. So right now it's 5:40 p.m. So I get off on the stream at 6 p.m. and then the sun's already going down. Is what it is. I am going to wrap up this stream though, mostly because I'm out of water. No, because not much is happening in the market right now. Trade of the day is definitely this mRNA breakdown. Just very clean reversal into the continuation down to 340 whole number. Beautiful trade. I know it's kind of chopped up, but you'll see it on Instagram soon enough. Go ahead and like that Instagram post. And the YouTube video for moving to Cape Town is coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. We'll have a stream before it goes live, so I'll be able to remind people, but that goes live tomorrow, so don't forget about that. Yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.